So since Case has brought back the Barlow this year, I bought one of the gray pocket-worn carbon steel ones, and then I just bought this one. This is my last knife purchase here. This is a single-bladed Case Barlow. It's in stainless steel, unfortunately, but I really liked the handles on this, and they call this the they call it the lime green bone Barnboard jig Barlow. It's like a saw cut, pretty much. Um, but I think it looks really good. It's interesting. I wish it was in carbon steel, but that's the way it is. Um, but the knife overall, I think it looks really good. Um, I'm hoping Case does some single blade or even two blade spear point Barlows at some point in carbon steel, preferably. But I would like more spear point Barlows, just because I think it looks more traditional, and I really like a spear point blade. But anyway, this is a single bladed clip point Case Barlow here in this wonderful like lime green. They call it Barnboard jig bone, as I said. But it looks really good, really brightly colored, which I like. You will notice there's no shield on this particular knife, which will make some of the Barlow fanatics. What do we want to call them? The kind of people that worry about an eighth an inch of bolster and whether or not it has a shield, and use that to determine whether or not something is a Barlow. I don't know what we're calling those people, but we'll make those people happy that there's no shield, even though Barlows sometimes just have shields. Does have a nice laser, probably a laser engraving, but it is actually in the bolster, which is nice. Unlike some of the Baron Sun stuff, it is actually in the bolster, so it won't get worn away in your pocket. But it's a nice little case logo there. Looks good. Of course, the Tang stamp isn't a stamp anymore, as I've pointed out. It's a laser engraving now, which is probably not going to hold up as long, I would think. But I believe this was some sort of cost cutting measure. I think that Case would say that they did it because it's clearer or something along those lines. But I don't buy it. I think it was a cost cutting measure. Um, but yeah, no, knife overall looks really good. It's got a weird spot on the rear back spring here, but I don't know if that's just some like polishing compound left over or something. Can't scrape it off with my fingernails. I don't know what that is, but that's there. Yeah, knife overall looks pretty good. These have half stops. The action on this one's pretty good. We'll say snaps open and closed really nicely. Blade centering is maybe slightly off. It moves around a little bit, which I will point out, it does have a slight amount of side to side blade play. It's enough that I probably will try to fix it, but it does have some side to side blade play. Not really the end of the world, pretty easy to fix and everything. So, not a huge deal. And that's really the only little problem that I have with this knife, is just a little bit of side to side play. The rest of it's done really well. It seems like Case, when it comes to these Barlows, does a really good job on the Barlows. Um, so I like to see that because I really like the Barlow pattern. Um, but yeah, so it seems like they do a really good job on these. Some of their other knives, not so much. But the Barlows seem to be really well done. I will say I did notice some interesting hafting. I don't remember, yeah, it was here on this side. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera. Oh, it definitely comes across on camera. It's hafted a little weirdly, but that's not really the end of the world or anything. It's just not like super equal, I guess. A little odd, but nothing like, world ending or anything, obviously. Knife overall looks really good, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think this was around $70, and they have some other knives in this run, including a rust lock, which maybe I'll try to get a rust lock with this handle material at some point because I really like the handle material. That being said, I'm still really a fan of carbon steel, and I don't know how often I'll carry a knife like this, but occasionally I do carry a stainless steel knife, just not most of the time, just because I feel like the carbon steel really, takes on character better and everything. The cool thing about knives like this is even though it's not in carbon steel, you still have a bone handle and nickel silver bolsters and brass and everything. So it will, kind of change over time as it sits in your pocket and gets scratched up and you start to wear down these grooves in the bone and everything, and the brass starts to darken and everything. It will change, just not quite as much as it would change if it had a carbon steel blade and a carbon steel back spring. But Case doesn't do carbon steel back springs. But I do like when they offer knives with carbon steel blades. But that being said, I think if you're a fan of stainless steel, or you just don't care or whatever, and you really like lime green like I do, I think this one's a really good looking pocket knife. And like I said, they have some others in this series, including a rust lock, and I'm trying to think of what else there is. There's probably a razor in this because that's their vault pattern, and I'm sure they're doing a couple other things. Probably a trapper, almost certainly a trapper. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, just a really good looking knife. I like the laser engraving on the bolster there. I think it looks really good. And this is probably one of my more enjoyed Case stainless knives that I've gotten, just because I really like the way it looks and everything. That being said, I probably won't carry this a whole lot, just because, like I said, I typically prefer carbon steel blades. Um, but it might get carried a little bit, especially this winter with snow and stuff. Who knows? Um, but yeah, that's going to be it for this video on this Case Barlow. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.